10-ші дәріс тақырыбы шетел тілінде берілген тапсырмаларды орындауда Microsoft Office жүйесін қолдану. Тақырыптың негізгі сұрақтары Microsoft Office туралы түсінік және түрлері, Word редакторының тағайындау, іске қосу және онымен жұмыс істеуді аяқтау. Microsoft Office бірнеше редакцияда шығарылады және редакциялардың атауы мен құрамы олардың бағасынан тәуелді болып келеді. Кеңселік бағдарламалар пакетінің негізгі құрамы келесілерді қамтиды. Біріншісі Microsoft Word мәтіндік редактор. Келесі Microsoft Excel кестелік процессор. Кез келген қиындықтағы электронды кестелерді құру үшін барлық қажетті функцияларды қолдайды. Келесі Microsoft Outlook. Жеке коммуникатор Outlook құрамына күнтізбе, тапсырмалар, жоспарлаушысы, жазбалар, электрондық почта диспетчері, мекен-жай кітабы кіреді. Желілік бірлескен жұмысты қолдайды. Microsoft PowerPoint презентациялар дайындауға арналған қосымша. Microsoft Access деректер базаларын басқаруға арналған қосымша. Microsoft InfoPass деректерді жинау мен оларды басқаруға арналған қосымша. Мәліметтерді өңдеу процесін жеңілдетеді. Microsoft Communicator адамдар арасындағы жан-жақты қарым-қатынасты ұйымдастыру үшін арналған. Microsoft Publisher жарияланымдарды дайындауға арналған қосымша. Microsoft Visio қарапайым бизнес деректерді диаграммаларға және концепцияларды түрлендіруге мүмкіндік беретін бизнес диаграмма және техникалық диаграммалармен жұмыс істеуге арналған қосымша. Microsoft Project жобаларды басқаруға арналған. Microsoft Query деректер базасының ақпараттарды көру және іріктеуге арналған. Microsoft OneNote белгілерді жазу мен оларды басқаруға арналған қосымша. Microsoft Groove бірлескен жұмысты қолдау қосымшасы. Microsoft SharePoint Designer Microsoft SharePoint платформасында қосымшаларды тұрғызу және SharePoint түйіндерін бейімдеуге арналған құрал. Microsoft Picture Manager суреттермен жұмыс қосымшасы. Microsoft Document Image Writer Microsoft Document Imaging форматында басатын виртуалды принтер. Microsoft Diagnostic Microsoft Office-тің зақымдалған қосымшаларын диагностикалау және қалпына келтіруші. Microsoft Office бағдарламасы, Access бағдарламасы, Word бағдарламасы, Excel бағдарламасы, InfoPass бағдарламасы, Publisher бағдарламасы, PowerPoint бағдарламасы, Outlook бағдарламасы. Яғни күнделікті оқыту процесінде біздің өзіміздің осы қолданылатын бағдарламалар жиынтығы осы, яғни Microsoft Office бағдарламалары. Microsoft Word бұл құжаттарды құру, қарап шығу, өзгерту және басып шығару үшін арналған Microsoft Office жүйесінің құрамына кіретін программа. Сіздерге қазір Word бағдарламасында, Microsoft Word бағдарламасында жұмыс істеу барысында перне тақтаны қалай қолдану керек екендігі туралы кішігірім видео көрсетіледі.
In this Microsoft Word tutorial, I would like to show you my favorite Microsoft Word keyboard shortcuts, the ones that I find to be most useful. And to start off, I just want to acknowledge some of the most common keyboard shortcuts, and these are usable in almost every program, and that's Control-C, X, and V for copy, cut, and paste, and then also Control Z to undo a mistake. Okay, so let's say I would like to undo that, Control Z, and then Control Y to redo whatever you've undone. So those are some basic keyboard shortcuts that everyone should know. They're usable in almost every program that you're going to use. But let's look beyond those for my favorite and most useful Microsoft Word keyboard shortcuts. The first one is Quick Save. And we all know how important it is to save often. Whenever you make big, significant changes, it's a good idea to save. But instead of having to take your hand off the keyboard and going up and clicking the Save button here to quick save, you can simply hold Control and tap S, and that performs a quick save. There's a similar shortcut to quickly print. If I hold Control and tap P, it brings up the print options, and I can change these options if I'd like to, and then click Print. So Control S and Control P. Those are some good, easy time savers. Another easy, simple keyboard shortcut is the F7 key. If you tap F7, it brings up the spelling and grammar check. So Word has found 4 spelling mistakes for me in my document and 9 grammar suggestions. Another keyboard shortcut I use all the time in Microsoft Word is Control F. Control F opens up the Find panel, or what they call Navigation panel. So here in the navigation search box, I can type in a word and it will try to locate it in my document. This is especially useful if you have a big document, maybe a research paper or a master's thesis or something like that you're working on. You've got thousands and thousands of words, and let's say you've made a mistake. Maybe you've used the wrong terminology in your paper and you want to find all instances of the mistake. You could just type in the word and it will identify all of the instances of that word. The next 3 keyboard shortcuts have to do with text formatting. When you're typing in Microsoft Word, anytime you take your hands off the keyboard, you've just lost some efficiency, you've wasted some time. And so to help with that, there are 3 keyboard shortcuts that make it so that you don't have to come up here and click bold, italics, and underline. So I'm going to undo the underlining here in my title, which really isn't necessary anyway, and I'm going to erase the title and pretend like I'm typing it for the first time. Instead of going up and clicking to underline that text or to italicize the text, all I have to do is hold the Control key and tap U for underline. I start typing, and you can see the text is coming in underlined. If I want to stop the underlining, I hold Control and I tap U again. Now, nothing new will be underlined. It works similarly for bold. Control B gives me bold text, just like that. And Control I gives me italicized text. Now, of course, if I don't undo, in this case, bold, then my italics will be bolded and italicized. And so you have to remember to turn off the italics if you don't want them to continue. Same with underlining and same with bold. My next favorite keyboard shortcut in Microsoft Word is automatic page break. Everyone has at one point or another gone into Word, put the cursor where you want a page to end, and then tapped Enter several times to move the rest of the text down to the next page. That is really unnecessary. You don't have to tap Enter, 15 times to get your text to the right place. Instead, if you want to end this page right here and break it and start a new page below, all you have to do is hold the Control key and tap Enter. And you can see what that did. It ended the page. It's broken. This page is broken here, and the new page begins down below on page 2 in this case. Another very useful keyboard shortcut for Microsoft Word is F4. Now, what does F4 do? F4 will repeat whatever you've most recently done. So if I tap Delete or Backspace a few times, and then if I tap the F4 key, look what happens. It continues to delete. Whatever you most recently did will be continued if you tap F4. So another example, if I type the word hello and then a space, if I then tap F4, look, hello space, hello, hello, hello. It just repeats whatever you just recently did. So F4 is kind of an interesting one. It just repeats whatever action you've just done over and over and over every time you tap F4. The next keyboard shortcut is Shift F5. Holding the Shift key and tapping F5. What does that do? Well, it takes you back to wherever your cursor last was. So let me give you an example. Let's say I want to copy a paragraph that's toward the bottom of this document, and I want to paste it back up there toward the top where all of those hellos were. So I'm going to highlight this text, this whole sentence. I'll copy it with Control-C, and then I'll hold Shift and tap F5, and it takes me right back up to all of the hellos. And now I can do Control-V to paste in that sentence. So Shift F5, it's a great way to jump back to where you were previously working. Very useful. Another useful tool that we have is Shift Left or Shift Right. Now let me give you an example of when that would be useful. In previous videos, I've shown you that a double click on a word highlights a word, and a triple click on a word highlights either the sentence or the paragraph, depending on the program that you're using. So double click highlights the word, triple click highlights, in this case, the paragraph. And that's very useful. If I want to copy this whole paragraph now, I can do Control-C to copy it. Or if I want to copy a word, I can just double click on the word, Control-C to copy that word, and then I can paste it with Control-V. But what if you're clicking and dragging, or maybe you're double clicking, and you want to extend what is highlighted before you copy it? What if I wish it included classes and 2 years? I can hold the Shift key and then tap the right arrow key. And look, it's extending the highlighted text. And 2 years. Okay, that's exactly what I want. Now I can copy it and paste it. So that way you don't have to click and drag again to try to get exactly what you want. Just double click on the first word and then hold Shift, tap the right arrow to extend it as far as you want to go. Now the left arrow takes you back the other direction and extends to the left. But that can be a very useful keyboard shortcut in Microsoft Word. Next, we have Control-Shift-C. And what does this do? We know that Control-C copies, so what does Control-Shift-C do? Well, it copies not the text, but the formatting. So let's say I set this up with the formatting I want, and I want that same formatting down here. I highlight the formatting that I want to copy, hold Control, hold Shift, tap C. It just copied the formatting. Now I go down and I highlight where I want to paste that formatting. I don't know why I would want to do this in this case, but I hold Control, Shift, and V. And look, it copy-pasted not the words, but the formatting from the title down here as well. I'm going to undo that. Now there are many more Microsoft Word keyboard shortcuts out there, and if there's interest in this video, I'll make another, more advanced Microsoft Word keyboard shortcuts tutorial. But these really are my favorites and the ones that I use the most. So thanks for watching. If you found this tutorial to be helpful, please click the like button below and consider connecting with me on my social media accounts like Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter. And definitely do subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos about technology for teachers and students. And when you do subscribe, please click the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll be notified whenever I post another video, and watch for another video from me at least every Monday. If you'd like to support my YouTube channel, consider becoming a patron of mine through my Patreon account, and you'll find links to that in the description below.
Microsoft Office Word мәтінді құжаттарды дайындауға, түзетуге және қағазға басып шығаруға арналған Windows жүйесінің қосымша программасы. Ол мәтіндік және графикалық информацияларды өңдеу барысында жүзден аса операцияларды орындай алатын ең кең тараған мәтін редакторының бірі. Қазір компьютерлік технологияларда орындауға болатын кез келген операция бұл ортада жүзеге асырыла береді. Мысалы, басқа ортада дайындалған мәтіндік фрагменттер, кестелер, суреттер сияқты неше түрлі объектілерді байланыстыра отырып, осы ортаға енгізуге болады. Жалпы Word редакторында типография жұмысына керекті баспа материалдарын теруден бастап, оларды оригинал макетін толық жасауға дейінгі барлық жұмыс орындалады. Мұндай құжаттар мен кестелерді көрікті етіп безендіруге қажет көптеген дайын шаблондар, стильдер жазылып бірден орындалатын ішкі макропрограммалар тілі, қарапайым графиктік бейнелерді салатын аспаптар және тағы сол сияқты жетіп артылады.
Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make another flyer in Word. This time the flyer is going to be for a sort of party or a summer festival or Halloween or something like that. And you can customize it as much as you want to. And I'll just go through the process with you so that you can put whatever you, or the words in that you want, and I'll show you how to move the various shapes and things around. So I've just opened up a blank document, as you can see. But the first thing you need to decide is what size your page might want to be. So if we just look at the moment and we go up to the home page and we go to layout and we just go to this icon here that says size, if you just check this arrow here you'll be given a number of options. So if you only want to make an A5 flyer, you can choose A5. I'm going to stick with A4 today, but I'm actually going to go to A4 borderless. So I'm going to take all of my margins away because margins is not something that we're going to use. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to change the background of my page. I don't want it to be white. So in order to do that, if I just go up to Design and I go along to this icon here which says Page Color, and then I go to the drop down, I'm going to change my page color to black. Now in some instances it's going to be a little difficult to see some of the text boxes and things that we're going to draw, but don't worry, there is a workaround of that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to insert some shapes into my poster, and it's going to be quite colourful and vibrant. So I'm going to go up to the Insert tab, and I'm going to go along to Shapes, and I'm going to go down to the circle icon. Now because I want mine to be a perfect circle, as I draw I'm going to click and drag, and as I draw I'm going to hit the Shift key, which will turn my shape into a perfect circle. Okay. Once you do this, you'll see that you have the square boundary with the boxes in all the corners and along the sides. And this will enable you to manipulate this shape in a number of different ways. You can change the size of the shape. Again, don't forget to hit the Shift key to ensure that it's a perfect circle. And then this icon up here will allow you to rotate the circle if you wish to do so. Now, second to that, you'll see that this tab comes up here called Shape Format. Now, if that doesn't appear, if you just click on your shape, as long as this square or rectangle is around your shape, you'll find that this tab appears up here. If you double click on your shape, you'll find that a menu appears on the right hand side, down here, Format Shape. Along here, you'll get your drop downs, which are Fill, which is how you fill the inside of your circle, and the line, which is the line that surrounds the circle. So if, for example, I choose my line to be red just to demonstrate, and then I increase the width of my line, you can see now I've got a red line around the outside of my circle. So that's referring to the line around your shape. Now for much of this I'm not going to need a line around the shape, so I'm going to click No Line. So to format my shape the way I want it, I'm simply going to go up to this Fill icon here, and in this drop down I'm going to go to Gradient Fill. Now here you can see that you have options of different gradients. So this is my gradient at the moment, and I've gone from red to yellow. If I want to change these colours, I simply click on this icon here, I go down to Colour, and I click on the colour of my choice, and then I come up to this icon here, click on Colour, and click on a colour of my choice. And as you can see, if I move this little icon here, the gradient will move and fill with more blue and less pink. And if I do it in the opposite direction, then I have more pink and less blue. If I click on this plus button, I can add a gradient stop here in the middle. So if I choose to add another colour, I can simply click on colour again, and let's click on red. And you can see now that I have huge amounts of flexibility to adjust my gradient as I see fit. So for today's demonstration, I'm actually going to swap these colours round. So I'm actually going to have the pink colour on the right, because I want the pink at the bottom, and I'm actually going to have purple at the top. Okay. Now, once I have formatted my circle, I can then reproduce this circle as many times as I want by simply checking on Command or Control C, Command or Control V, which is copy and paste. Alternatively, if you right click on your shape, and you can simply go down to copy, click off your shape, right click and paste, and again you can copy and paste your shape. Now in doing this, it will mean that I can put my shapes around my poster to where I want them, and I can also change the size of my shapes. Now I'm just going to copy and paste a few more. And I'm going to make some tiny ones as well. Now once you've copied and pasted, if you just click Command or Control V, so here I've left this highlighted, and I'm simply clicking on Command or Control V, and it will bring up another identical circle. And again, this will just allow me to just make some copies of these circles. Now don't worry, we are going to change the colour and the transparency of these shapes to add interest to our flyer. I think I'm going to put that one perhaps there, and maybe just bring it in a little bit more like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste another shape here in the middle, and now I'm going to change the colour of my shape. I'm going to put yellow on the right, and I'm going to put red on the left. And again, I'm going to Control or Command C, Control or Command V, and I'm just going to copy and paste a few of these. Now I am going to begin to overlap them, and again change the size of them. And once again, I'm going to choose just a final flurry of colours. So I'm going to do blue on the bottom and purple on the top. And again, copy and paste. And paste. Now, don't worry if you want to move these around. I will show you how to bring these to the foreground or the background. All I'm doing at the moment is just simply moving my shapes into the position that I want them for the poster. I'm actually going to pop that one down there. Paste again, and then just move them around just as though they were floating. Now, we can now decide if we want to bring these shapes to the foreground or the background. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you this little shape here. I want it to bring on top of these larger shapes. Now, I've created quite a few layers of circles. So in order to bring to the front, the easiest thing to do is to right click on the shape, go down to bring to front, and your shape will now be on top. So the other thing we're going to do is actually change the transparency of these circles to make them look like they're bubbles. So if you click on the shape that you want to change its transparency, and then you go across to this fill icon up here, and then go down to transparency, and you can just simply use the slider here and just move it to the right, bring it back to the left, depending on how transparent you want your bubble to be. And again, we can do that with as many of these bubbles as we want and move them around. Okay, so now we've got the bubbles in, and again you can go around and adjust and correct this as many times as you want. We're going to start putting some words in. So in order to do that, we need to go up to the Insert tab here and across to Text Box and down to Draw Text Box. And then you'll see that the little cross comes up in the middle, and you simply click and drag. Now, as you can see, you can't see anything, but believe me, there is something there, as you can see. You just can't see the black line that you can normally see when you drag, click and drag the text box across the page. But it will come up white, but I'll show you how to change this text box so it fits in nicely with the poster. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop the title of our flyer in. Okay, so now we're just going to highlight the text. We're going to go to Home. I'm going to put the text in the center, so I'm going to check this icon here. I'm going to increase the size of my text by using this Increase Font Size icon here. Until I'm happy. And I might just want to increase my text box just a little bit. And I'm just going to go and select a different font, something a little bit fun. In addition to this, I'm just going to select just this word here, Feastival, and I'm just going to increase the size of that word. And I'm just going to increase the size of my text box. Okay, so what I've done here is I've got my title of my event and the date. But what I've seen is the gaps between my fonts. This particular font has created a large distance between the lines. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take out the date, and I'm going to decrease the size of my box, and I'm going to put the date in separately. Now at the moment, if I click off this text box, this is what I'm going to end up with. So you can just see this black line around this text box. I don't want the black line, and I don't want the black background, and I want my text to change to the colour white. So if I click on the box again, and I just highlight my text, make sure I'm on Home, I can go down to Text and click white. It will now disappear, don't panic. Go back up to Shape Format. If we go to Shape Fill here, click the drop down here, click No Fill. That will mean the text box is now transparent. But if I click off, you'll see that the black line is still there. Click back on the text box, make sure you're checked on to Shape Format, go to Shape Outline, go to the drop down, click No Outline. And if you click off, now you just have your title, which is now effectively floating. So now I've got my title, I now need to put some other information in. And all I'm going to do there is I'm going to do the exact same process. So I will speed this up for you, and then when I come across something that is slightly different, then I will stop the video and tell you how I've done it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to insert a slightly different text box technique, which I want to put the numbers in the center of a text box here. But sometimes if I just demonstrate, if I try to insert a number in here, so I want to put August the 16th, so if I just put 16 in here, and if I want to change this to a square, just looking at the numbers, we're roughly a square now. So if I then want to make this square slightly bigger, check the Shift key as I expand this box. If I just hold down the Shift key, then it will continue to extend as a square rather than a rectangle. So what I want to do is put this number 16 in the center here. So at the moment, if I go to center, I can click on the Home tab, go to center, and then if I click the increase font size, so in this instance it hasn't done a particularly bad job. So what I'm trying to demonstrate is when this doesn't work. So let's just go to a slightly larger box and let's see if I can show you exactly what happens. Let's go to the font that I normally use, and so here we go. If I increase the size of my number, what happens is it's in the center but not in the center vertically. So what I want to do is put this 16 inside this box, because this is how big I want the box, but I can't do it simply by jostling around with the fonts. If I try to, let's say, if I went to 49 or 50, you can see now it jumps back down, the numbers distort, and I'd have to increase the size of my box. So I'm going to show you how to get this 16 into the middle of this white box, and it just gives you some more techniques to enable you to format your flyer in exactly the way that you want to and customize it. So I'm just going to move this 16 to one side because I can keep that. What I'm going to do is go up to Insert and go to Shape. Click on this square here, and again I'm going to click and drag, but I'm going to hold down the Shift key so that I make a perfect square, and I'm going to put it about that size there. And again, I want a white box because I want the 16 to go inside a white box. So I'm going to go to Fill Shape, making sure that I'm on the Shape Format tab, and go to the white colour here. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to click on this text box here. Again, go to Shape Format. I'm going to go to the Shape Fill. I'm going to click on No Fill, and Shape Outline here, I'm going to click on No Outline. Now what I can do is I can move this 16. As you can see, it's gone underneath this box here. So I'm simply going to right click, go to bring to front, and now you can see the 16 is on the top. Now what this enables me to do is to move this number around, and I can use my arrow keys and I can place this number exactly in the middle of that box. So if you do want to put any kind of rectangles and put words inside the rectangles that don't quite fit the way you want to, what you can do is put a text box over the top of a shape, and then you can manipulate it and customize it even further. If I just click off that, you can see that now the 16 is in the middle of that box. So I'm just going to move things around a little bit so that they're in the middle. So just move the 16 down. I'm going to move the shape over, just using my arrow keys so it's in the center generally, and again move my 16 into the center where I'm happy. Okay, I shall continue to fill in some information. Okay, so now I've got the main information into my flyer. If you're not happy with anything that you've seen here, it's really simple to customize it to your needs. You just simply need to click on the various items that you've inserted, and you can customize them by moving them around, changing the opacity of them, and again moving these word boxes, text boxes around to suit your needs. Don't forget though, if you do need them to be on top or behind something, so if I wanted these words, let's say, to be behind these balls at the bottom, then I simply right click, go to send to back, and then you can see they've gone behind the balls at the bottom. And again, to return it, simply bring to front, and again they're on top. Okay, and there we have a summer festival flyer. I hope that's helped somebody out there. Enjoy creating, and if you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments below, and have a great day.
Қорыта айтқанда, Microsoft Office жүйесін сабақта қолдану бұл оның нәтижелілігіне қолайлы жағдайда жасаудың бірден-бір жолы, ал ол өз кезегінде бірлесе жұмыс жасауға, адами қарым-қатынастарға себепкер болады. Оқытуға жаңашыл көзқарасты қолдану тәжірибеге бағытталған оқытудың үлкен жетістігі болып табылады. Сондай-ақ оның сапасы алынған білімнің нақты жағдайда мақсатқа жетумен қатар өмірдің сапасын көтеруде үлкен сұранысты қанағаттандыруды қамтамасыз етеді. Word мәтіндік редакторында қандай объектілер енгізуге болады? Объект енгізу қандай командалардың көмегімен орындалады? Объект файлдан қалай енгізіледі? Word art объектісі қалай енгізіледі? Енгізілген Word art объектісінің форматтау әрекеті қалай орындалады? Word текстік редакторының қызметі қолданылуы, Microsoft Word программасын іске қосу ретін түсіндір және іске қос. Microsoft Word программасының терезелік құрылымын сипатта. Форматтау панелінің қызметін түсіндір. Microsoft Word редакторында жасалған жұмысты қалай сақтаймыз?